Everyone likes a little extra cash in their pocket. Well, as the saying goes, now there's an app for that. But how does it work and how much can you make? Here to tell us is WGBH reporter Cristina Quinn. So are you rich off this app thing yet?
Not quite, but there are a lot of apps out there that pay users. But first, you have to do a few tasks in order to cash in. So, there are some apps out there that pay you to watch commercials, for example, in your free time. There are other apps out there that have you go to, say, a local coffee shop and do a survey on your experience. And now there's this new app called Rewardable, and it pays you to do certain tasks. If you go to a grocery store, for example, and you check out the prices of the items. So I went to a local grocery store today to give it a shot, and we can go take a look. So I loaded up the Rewardable app, and now I'm in the coffee aisle. And one of the tasks I need to do is I need to go look for a certain brand of coffee and see if it's stocked on the shelf. I need to record the price of a similar ground coffee and note the kind and size at the end of the survey. Let's go. So I found it. All right. Record the price. All right. So the next task I have to do is find a can of sweet corn and just make note of the price and enter it into the app. Let's go. I found it. All right. So I've completed several tasks. I've taken note of the prices of certain products. I took a couple of photos, and hopefully I'm going to make some money off of this.
And did you?
I did. I made $5.
And how many hours did that take you?
That only took 15 minutes.
Really?
So it really wasn't that bad. And I think, what you didn't see, though, is that I had to do a lot of running around. I'm not familiar with the layout of that supermarket.
Nobody would be.
Right. I mean, unless,
Right.
it's a supermarket that's close to you, but... it's up to the user to see if that's
interesting,
worth it.
though. Interesting concept. All right, let me bring in Carl Howe, an analyst with the Yankee Group who follows mobile apps. Welcome, Carl.
So, thank you very much.
Is this a big thing? Are people getting rich off these? I mean, people making money?
It is. It's a way that brands can enlist consumers to become their field agents. There's actually an app called Field Agent that does exactly that. But they're paying them to be their scouts, to go out and gather information about their products, about competitors' products, and use their smartphones to bring it back.
But I mean, like the people who make Folgers coffee or the corn, don't they know what it's selling for? What are they getting out of Cristina going over and recording it and seeing...
Everyone assumes that brands have perfect information about how things are sold and what prices they're sold for. They actually don't. It's very hard to gather that type of information. It's very labor intensive. Even with point of sale systems, it's very hard to find the data. So what they're doing is they're saying, I'm going to take a survey of real consumers who do real shopping, and I'm going to find out those prices in the field and compare them with what the store owners are telling me.
Now, if I were, a Whole Foods employee or a Star Market or something, I'd be scanning every single one. I mean, just getting, it seems to me that the big retail stores could get in on this.
They provide their point of view of the prices, but you got to remember things are often not as they seem. Furthermore, there are things you can't measure at a point of sale terminal. So a great example is some of these apps will ask you, go and ask this question of the person who's serving you at Chipotle, for example, and see how well you were served. Was your question answered? Were you satisfied with your experience? That's the sort of thing you can't get out of a cash register.
So now there was an app that came out several years ago, Mobee, M-O-B-E-E. Explain that one, and did that actually make money for people?
Well, that one I'm not as familiar with. Certainly the ones that we're seeing today can make, $10,000, $15,000 a year doing this sort of work. It does take a lot of time, so you have to be somebody who has a lot of time in your hands. But this is a case where that sounds like a lot of money. It's a lot cheaper than getting a professional competitive analyst to go in and gather the data.
Buy the app, or is the app free?
The apps are usually free.
So you're not investing in it, you're just downloading it and...
You're spending your time, and you're going to work for a brand.
Yeah. So is there any check system? Because people could just be scamming it. They could,
Well, if they're just reporting things, they could scam it. If they're taking pictures of things, though, it's a lot harder to be fraudulent. So this is a case where the smartphone has turned us into employees of anybody who wants to hire us to gather data. It's actually a kind of an exciting life.
But in the case of, for instance, the server at Chipotle, I mean, I can make up his response.
Not if you film it.
Oh, so you have to film it too.
That's one of the possibilities. Usually, you just have to write a review, but a lot of things require photographic evidence.
So how do the stores, the big retailers, respond to this? Do they mind? Do they think it's a good idea?
Most of the brands I've seen are actually kind of excited about being able to see the consumer's point of view. Again, there's a lot of intermediaries between a brand manager at Coca-Cola and the consumer who's buying the product off the shelf. This lets them see things through the consumer's eyes, and that's very valuable.
Of course, this isn't available to they can see it, but we can't. If we wanted to go download what all the servers said, we couldn't do it.
Right. They spend all this money to gather the data. They own it.
All right. Carl Howe. Very
Pleasure.
interesting. Great to have you.